Family is not about blaming ukuthi wena wenzeni mina ngenzeni. It's more about nurturing each other. Ngoba uNkulunkulu makasihlanganisa uhlanganise si totally different. Couples that stay together are those that have differences. And they recognize their differences and they are able to work through their differences. Uma senifana nonke ekhaya. Isithini sisho sisizulu sithi kunye kube kubili ngabe kwenzani. Yes, we must be different in life. I always tell my story with my wife. We are still young in marriage. We only finished 32 years now. Very young in marriage. So another 50 years for us to be together, isn't it? Yeah. Magang Tola, I wasn't as wounded as I am. There were not many love handles, Babmota. Mvulane, they were not there. Manjukula. Giashlupa. Go to Yenusa. Seseka. Nyambona mar. Yeah. Ntimang hamba na bafana bambuga bangise nubugan bafana. You know. Aksi into mpile. Okay. But it's about nurturing. When I got married to my wife and I are different in terms of temperaments. I am phlegmatic and sanguine. My wife is choleric and melancholic. 1991, I was the family life director for the Southern Africa Union, taking care of Namibia, Swaziland, the whole of South Africa. 1991. Now, says Shatile Nonkoskazi, we are almost going to 10 years at that time. Man, aslangani, man, ingati amanzi no oil, aslangani, asjeli, enengumfundisi. You know how frustrating it is when you are a pastor, nilwile, uyafana kushumayela. What do you do? What do you do? Uyazi mawushumayela ke mvulane, awubheki unkosikazi ngoba uzothi ungabheki ngapha, ubheka ngapha, mawuthi inhlanga bona kubhekile ukuthi engabuthini bese ubheka ngapha. So it happens nathi kubafundisi, it happens nathi kubafundisi ngoba umshado awuna professor. Umshado awuna professor at all. Okay. Umshado awuna professor. I've got now the real presentation, the one that has pictures and everything is there now. Can we swap presentations? Ngoba le indala. This is the revised one. Revised with this week. So maybe let's use the revised one rather than the old one. So after that kind of marriage, I'm a pastor and ngisebenza a union for that matter. Kuphi? A union. Ngithi nkosikazi lento ayihlangani ke asidivorce nkosikazi. Asenzeni? Ningathuka ngathi nithukiwe nje. Hawu. Ngithi nkosikazi ayihlangani lento. Hayi. Manje kuzokuthuna ufundo sase union seka divorce. You know? Then sancedwa ngoba phela uma uyi couple awuzinyangi wena. Isn't that beautiful? Awuzenzeni? Awukazi ukuzinyanga wena. Kwafika enye couple from America, I will always be thankful for that couple. Yafika le couple from the General Conference at that time because we were an attached union to the General Conference. I was reporting directly to that couple at HEC, the Flowers, Karen and Ron Flowers. Beza basifundisa ama temperaments. Bafundisa ke ngilanga qala khona ukuzwa ukuthi mina I'm phlegmatic and sanguine and my wife is melancholic and thank you, Bob. My wife is melancholic and my wife is will I be able to change now to press? Thank you so much. My wife is melancholic and choleric. And by the way, the two temperaments, choleric and melancholic, they are the tougher temperaments in a marriage. They are the what? The tougher temperaments in a marriage. The phlegmatic and sanguine, they are the what? The softer ones. Ilapho mawuthungena endlini uzwa ubaba phendula nge-first part uthi hawu ukhona ubaba la kathi ngipho ubaba lapha ekhaya. Nike nakuzwa lokho. So tougher temperaments like melancholic and choleric, they make decisions. Being a Swati, I thought you could say, Lomfat yang tselela, it went down. Yang tselela Lomfat, hang tabon. Kufunak trina yen, and funak trina bad. Trina man. I didn't realize that my wife has a harder temperament. The mina I have that softer one. I take a little bit of time, she does things fast, but also she is a perfectionist. Melancholics are perfectionists, what you call people. They want things done the what? The right way. I'm that easy temperament where don't worry, man, be happy, it will happen, and so on. Things like I would rock up with visitors at home. I didn't check ukuthi kunayo ukuthi ukudla khona ukudla kukho ukwenzekani sengifika nabantu. I'm that type of temperament. She calculates angithi abone into esinjalo into zokuxabana nje ezinjalo. I learned that day ukuthi uNkulunkulu wangipha lo mfati ukuthi sikwazi to complement one another. La mina ngiweak khona, she must be strong. Lana khona a strong khona at home. I used to be the one welcoming the visitors. Yeah, she would do what she needs to do, but I'm the one who would talk to them. She's not that type. And people would think, hey, no, she's not that kind of person who would welcome people, make jokes and do that, but she would do what she needed to do. And Namige, I had my part. I'm the entertainer at home. I keep people lively. That's why Kulungulu put us together. So marriage is about that. And nurturing one another. My time is no longer what you call, I'm going to move very fast. I'm going to talk to you about marriage being generational. Marriage is what? It's generational. I, the Lord, I'm a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the fathers to the third and what? And fourth generation who hate me. But showing love to thousands of generations to those who love me and keep my commandments. The secret of marriage is to know that in every marriage there are 6 people who are involved. How many? 6 people who are involved. Now, you'll say, now, that's heresy. In your marriage, Bito, there are 6 people who are involved. There's you as a couple, there's your in-laws, both of them, and there's your parents. 6 of them. This you cannot wish away. Ngoba wena, as a person, you are constituted in the what you call. You've taken something from your parents. You've taken something. Your wife has taken something from the parents, and then now that you are together as well, you are also becoming alike. So you cannot wish. That's why there is no akumuntu ofana yedwa ekhaya ngithi. Bazodufana umkhulukhulu banibani washona kudala mase bakushasha ke manje bathi umkhulukhulu wenzani owashona kudala ufana nobaba ufana. You take something from your parents, she takes something from what? Now akathathi kuphela inkhanda nezindlebe, also genetically there is something that the person. I'll prove to you. So at least marriage is always between at least 6 people. Okay, what do I mean that? You've got the husband and a wife. You've got 2 people who produce the husband and the vertical, and the 2 people who produce the wife. We all reflect one another, and in turn, our children and grandchildren reflect us in what? In one way or another. Bear with me, then you will understand my thesis and where I'm going to. The only way to have a healthy marriage is to really grapple with all these relationships and to really examine why we react the way we do in situations where we got crossways and so on. Okay? The Bible always takes the marriage not as a meeting between 2 people, but as a generational thing. I'll share with you what I mean by that. We find that God enables people to forgive their parents and themselves where they have done each other injustice. As we relate to each other, and through all family dynamics, we gradually become more and more alike. We grow closer and closer intimacy and more true love to each other. Have you seen 2 people that when you look at them, you say to them, hey, labantu laba, ngati they are a brother and a what? And a sister. The more we stay together, the more we grow towards each other. The more we stay toward Jesus, or with Jesus or closer to Jesus, the way we get what? The way we get what? We become like him. Mangifuze uJesu yenali Nkosi yami ningadla amazambane ndisiwa aze ahlale kimi mangifuze uJesu wonge lole lizwi lansi ongi le ogo moya osha lana mimse uma singafuza uJesu abantwana bethu ngeke bamfuza uJesu nabo. Okay, here's what I want to talk about again. Why do you think in the Bible you always find so and so beget so and so? You put the book of Matthew, so and so beget so and so. Why do we see that this long genealogical list is somebody trying to tell us something? Yes, one never just makes a choice alone. You always reflect your parents, their parents, or some family members, plus your children throughout life. Your lifestyle choices and major decisions will also affect future generations for your family. Abantwana bethu today, abanye, they will never, I shouldn't say they will never, they are struggling to fight sin in their lives. Ngoba basithole kithi through the genes. Ngizwile ngithini? Abantwana bethu, they will struggle through life with certain sins. Ngoba bazingcele kuphi? Bazingcele kithi. Let me give you an example. Khona omunye umama. Should I speak purely English or ngihlanganise kuyazwakala? Khona umuntu angezwa bakhona abangezwa lutho. Oh, okay. Bakhona abangezwa lutho. Oh, sorry. Please forgive me. There was this lady who used to drink a lot during pregnancy. And then the child was born, and the child grew. And one day, as she was passing the beer hall, the child was facing this direction, and the child actually turned and faced the direction of the beer hall and said to Mama, I want this, there's something here. And then because of the smell of the whatever beer or whatever this lady used to drink when this lady was pregnant, because the child remembered remembered the smell and turned and said, Mama, there's something nice that I am longing for here. So okay, these things happen. Here's a quotation from Richard L. Strauss, who is a psychologist. A person's image of God is often patterned after his image of his own parents, isn't it? Especially his father. If his parents were happy, loving, accepting, and forgiving, he finds it easier to experience a positive and a satisfying relationship with God. But if his parents were cold and indifferent, he may feel that God is far away and disinterested in him personally. If his parents were angry, hostile, and rejecting, he often feels that God can never accept him. If his parents were hard to please, he usually has a nagging notion that God is not very happy with him either. How can our young people, our children, know about God when we don't resemble what God does? Especially us as fathers, we need to be very careful. Here's something, a scientific research that was done. Negative traits or negative things are passed on much quicker than good things. It makes sense. Izinto ezimbi, they do what? They are easily passed ezimbi and quicker than the what you call. Here's something here that I want to share with you. Let's pass some of these things. Family dysfunctions and their consequences are passed down from parent to children and from one generation to another. I'll prove to you now. Each family has its own culture, which includes strengths and weaknesses. Genetic inheritances play a very important part. That's why here you find Uguti, if there's a history of music in the family, there will be people in music who will play music, who will play instruments, who will sing beautifully. It's passed down. It's in the genes. Same thing with athletics. Mina noma ungangizama ungifake ku ring uthi ngigijima 100 meters. Angeke ngilunge. It's not in my genes. Ngaphandle kokuthi ke nami ngisuke ngaba plampinyana angithi, but it's not in my genes. But there are people who run and make money. And what you call, and they run and they outrun. Some of these things are passed down from what you call. Not that I can't do it, I can try, but I cannot be as better as somebody who has been what you call. But unfortunately, listen to this one. Unfortunately, there are also self-destructive behaviors that are passed over generations, and I'll share with them now. Number one. Hey, this is a big one. And I want you to listen, Bazalbam, and dear couples. Some of the traits that are easily passable down to our children and our grandchildren. Number one, the spirit of what? Defeatism. Spirit of what? Defeatism. Umoya ugawani wokuhluleka wani wokuhluleka. Those words that you say from time to time, I mean, I can't, I'm as good as somebody must help. The spirit of defeatism, for it. Get somebody to help here. I'm not sure. Come and help us here. I'm not sure what's the problem. The spirit of what? Of defeatism. Yeah. My uncle was poor, I'm poor too. My father was poor, I'm poor too. I probably will die what? Will die poor. Those negative sentiments that you say, they translate it to your own, to what? To your own children. The other one, did you know ukuthi divorce iyasulelana? It's easy for a young man to say, I'm leaving this person because ingani babe naye wenzani? What divorce? What? There is a history of families where you hardly find some of them, everybody has divorced. I grew up from a very big family. Umkhulu Bogulsog. Yes, I'm not proud of that. 7 wives and 49 children. And I know ukuthi azange bamzame ngoba siyabantu bafana nathi bafana wonke umndeni. Azange bamzame angithi. Bababuza azange bamzame. Ngiyakuthokoza. Watendela. Bona make mabuzo ukuthi ungibuka kanjani. Ungishaya ngo-Esla. Uthi umfundisi uthini manje? Okay? But unfortunately, there is a history in my family of divorce. Most of them, I can count from those I know, only 3 or 4 that sustained their marriage until the end. And that's something that we need to guard and be able to help our children. This thing is easily passable. The other one is selfishness. Selfish what? Selfishness, greed, anger. And here's the last one, addictions and laziness. Vilap, we are likely to have children about Vilapaya, but they have not seen any example from what you call from you. Okay? You probably have already the presentation there. Yes. Let me move fast. I don't think that I have too much time. You are missing some good things here. But here is something I want you to be able to look. Well, in one of the states, they watched Uguti. How come so many generations of this family, they are in jail? babheka so many generations. But in this family, nangu mota, and they all relate. Kuno mota la Elukwatini, kuno mota eGoli, kuno mota kuphi bonke labantu laba bakamota, and they are related and they are in jail. Not, of course, at the same time, but at various times. Basebenza research manje. Yeah, I think let's move. I passed that one already. I passed this one already. Let's come to this one. So, okay, in 1870, I'm going to close on this now because of time. I'm not sure how much time do I still have. And then, but no, man, there is a problem here. There is a bad generational influence. So then they made a study of this family. And this family, they noticed that in 1874, a member of the New York State Prison Board noticed that 6 members of the same family were imprisoned at the same time. They traced the family line. They went 100 years in terms of history. We don't keep records. We can't go 100 years. You know, we are oral in nature, but these were documented. They found that great-grandfather was lazy, was an alcoholic, had low morals, and Waba West, he married a woman who had similar traits, and this is what became of their family. Okay? 310 became homeless, over 100 years now. 310 became homeless, 160 became prostitutes. Okay? 180 suffered from what? Drug or alcohol abuse. 150 became what? Criminals who spent most of their lives in and out of prison. Listen to this one, my dear friends. And then let me pass on because I don't have time to talk about these pictures now. Then they said, okay, 100 years ago, the grandfather was born, a great-great-grandfather, and then by a fan, both of them have low morals. They don't have practically religion. They do whatever they want to do. They are lazy. They are alcoholics. Bashatan alaband. It's better if somebody gets. It's better if there is one who is better, so that children can get something better. Children should not get ututu valoto. Yeah, they should not do that. But man, let's prove our study. Let's go back another 100 years. Let's look at a family that has done well. And let's check, is this theory consistent? Then they went back 100 years. They looked at one person and, okay, here's a life of Jonathan Edwards. Let's study this man. And they found that this man was a deeply religious man. He lived a life of high moral values. He became a minister of religion and a dedicated, faithful, and family man. He also married a what? A deeply religious woman who shared his values. And 11 children were born into that family. And this man ended up becoming the president of the Princeton University. Here's what happened of the 1,400 descendants that were born into that family. 13 became college presidents. That is rectors of universities. 65 became college professors. 100 became attorneys. 32 became state judges. 85 became authors of classic books. And then 66 became physicians. 80 held political offices, including state governor. 3 became state governors. And 1 became the vice president of the USA. So their theory was proven. Now, I am not saying to you, Guti, there is not the grace of God. There is a grace of God in between. The grace of God always makes the what? Makes the difference. But all I'm saying is that it does make a difference what kind of values we transmit from one generation to another. Strong moral values do bring blessings and opportunities to current and future generations yet to be born. Let not your grandchildren be born back to, but hey, such as Azalwa in a family that was not right. Now, let me prove to you biblically now who this theory works. Listen to, we are living now the theories of men. We are going now to the Bible itself. Let's prove if it works. Listen to this one. 2 Timothy 1 verse 5. Paul, I call to remembrance the genuine faith that is in what? Is in you, Apostle Paul. When Timothy, ne? Which dwelt first in your grandmother Louise. Hallelujah. Iafuna lowo lilo wabangwele basendu o waba disezulwini o benesibi indeko. Oh yeah, asibambe asina. Yeah, upinkosi loya what? Loya moya. Okay? Now, ukhuluma lana which stayed in your grandmother Louise Lomoya, and then utige, and who? And your mother Eunice. First, it was in the grandmother. Second, it was in you. It was in Eunice, your mother. And then utige, and I am persuaded that the same faith is in you. I'm proving it now biblically. It works. Okay? And those of you who are raising children alone as mothers, it is interesting that only females are mentioned here, acknowledged and praised in Timothy's upbringing. So you don't lose hope. If you are a single parent, now you can do your very best. The Lord, these were single parents. They don't mention the fathers. Timothy grew up to be one of the finest youth ministers and a colleague to the great Apostle Paul on the strength of the faith and obedience of his grandmother and his mother. Okay? Okay, let me leave the pictures now. There's no time. Let's go to the Abraham example. Okay? Abraham was obedient. Nyakumbula. Became a friend of God, left his pagan country, left the corrupt environment, left his own family to follow God's directives, later labeled as the what? As the father of the nation. Now listen to this one. Listen to this one. Now I'm giving you the verse now. Because of Abraham's sacrifices, God repaid Abraham by giving him promises. 13 verse 16, I will make your descendants as dust of the earth, so that if a man could number the dust of the earth, then your descendants also could be numbered. What a promise. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. Some of the Abraham's descendants formed the core of what is known today as the major English-speaking nations of the world. One of the interesting noticeable blessing of Abraham was the birth of Jesus, who was a direct descendant of Abraham, isn't it? So in that lineage, uNkulunkulu chose Abraham. I mentioned the first things, he was obedient, he left his pagan country, listened to God and so on. And then from that lineage of Abraham came what? Came Jesus Christ. Through Jesus we have life eternal today. What more could we ask for? What you call and so on. Here's another quotation here from another writer who says, study after study has shown that the family environment is the most critical factor in affecting children's self-esteem, success in marriage and life, and achievement in jobs. In fact, family environment, the quality of relationships within the family seem to be more important than level of income, degree of intelligence, social status, and any other factor. Let us not lavish our children with every label you can get in this world, but we can pray with them. Let us not lavish our children with every gift we can buy them, and yet we can hold them together and go together to church with them. That's the most important values that they want more than what we can give them. That's important. Let's go back again and look at, I'm now giving you also another biblical example of generational blessing. Here's it. David's classic example. I have found David, the son of Jesse, a man after who? After my own heart, who will do all my will. From this man's seed. From this man what? Seed. According to the promise, God raised up for Israel a savior, Jesus. It's Abraham first, then it's David, then it's Jesus, isn't it? Same family. Jesus Christ was descendant of King David, and both David and Jesus were physical descendants of who? Of Abraham. Yambona again. Abraham le and then you find these others as they come along. Let me tell you something again. 50 years after David's death. How many years? 50 years. God has not forgotten his servant yet. 1 Kings 15 verse 3. And now talking about he did all the same things his father became. Talking about Abijah now, the grandson. Abijah was not faithful to the Lord his God as David the grandfather had been. But 1 Kings 15 verse 4. Because the Lord loved who? David. The Lord gave him a kingdom in Jerusalem and allowed him to have a son to be king after him. The Lord also kept Jerusalem safe. Because of what? Because of David. Because of 50 years afterwards, uNkulunkulu is still blessing the family on account of who? Of David, the faithful. 50 years when you are lying in your grave, your grandchildren and great-grandchildren will be blessed because of who you are today. If you are a woman of prayer, if you are a man of God and a man of his word, 50 years from now, your great-grandchildren will be blessed because, not because of their father or the son we have given, but because of you as a grandmother. The Lord will bless you. Now, let's look at this one now. I'm going to move from this one and then, let me go to 250 years after David's death. How many years now? 250 years. Listen to this one. God said to Hezekiah, I am not doing this just for your sake. I'm doing it because of my relationship with your ancestor David. Hallelujah. Ifuninkolwe ngesabi nomi seziteni ipipes engesabi ubunzima bentwelo no sizi bentwelo no sizi. My friends, instead of asking for BMWs and the Mercedes and all type of cars, let's ask for faith that will not shrink when things are difficult. Now, listen to this one now. Each married couple constitute a witnessing unit to exhibit, by God's grace, the power and divine qualities in human relationships. Our sphere of influence may seem narrow, our ability small, our opportunities few, our acquirements limited, yet wonderful possibilities are ours through the faithful use of the opportunities of our own homes. Our own homes are dynamite. Our own homes are not only raising kids for this world, our homes are raising citizens of heaven. That's what we are doing. We are raising sons and daughters of God. That's what we are doing. Ellen White says, to our own children and those children of other families who pass through our homes, our marriages may be a witness and an inspiration that will exact a wonderful power on human hearts and lives. We must not use our homes as boxing rings. As what? As boxing rings. Today you get an uppercut, and next time you say, Naming it, and then you also give an uppercut. Our homes are not battlegrounds. Our homes are nurturing places where we should be nurtured for the glory of God. I often counsel couples and I hear them say, I was asking, just say one thing beautiful about your wife. There's nothing beautiful. I'm going to move in Janelo Mund. And so there is nothing beautiful. At least find something, even if it's one per day, and compliment your spouse about. She can't be that bad, or he can't be that bad. He can't be that bad, or she can't be that bad. There must be something beautiful that you can be able to appreciate, each day. Working on your marriage. Some can thank God today for the homes in which they grew up, and for the marriages their parents worked to create that were wholesome, happy, and growing relationship. Others have not such positive influence examples to look upon. Umshado bafowethu to not that way to uyasethenzelwa. It doesn't come on a silver platter. You look back after 30, 40 years, you say, I have worked here. but the product is good. And both of you, we work on each other every day. Some of us, we must thank God because we should never be together now had it not been for the grace of God. We should not be together today. Now, here's another one. Studies have shown that listen to this one. I'm giving you 3 things quickly that are a foundation to make your family happy in closing. Number 1, a loving environment. Studies have shown that a warm and a loving parent will be imitated more than an unloving parent. And children who live in positive, accepting environments have been found to be more willing to learn and will generally be more positive and confident than children living in environments that are hostile and frightening. Coming from the gate, even the cats and the dogs run away from you because they know when you come in, you kick from the gate, you kick from the door, and you look for anybody to kick in the house. Even namakati, they go under bed, but hey, mngana ifigile uthola ukuthi ikati nenja zihleli together. I am for you because of this trouble esinayo, let's find friendship and be together. Okay. So this environment is very important. Bonds formed with warm and loving parents tend to cause children to imitate them more so than unloving parents. Okay, let's move to the second one. You will find these slides, they're already there. I'm suggesting many things that you can do, kind words, but things that you can do in front of your children, with your children, so that they know. You know, Ellen White says, the most beautiful thing you can do as a husband is to make sure that the children know that you love their mother, isn't it? They must know that you love their mother. Okay, number two, families, we must have empathetic what? Families. To be empathetic is to enter into another's what? Feelings. A family with empathy is concerned about each other's needs and feelings. While behavior is important, an empathic family gives more consideration and understanding to the why of the behavior. That's very important. Ellen White says in Adventist Home, page 190, each is moved by the human needs and feelings of others and is willing to make changes as necessary to enable one another to enjoy respect and dignity as what? As persons. There are some things that you will make, things that you will live doing, things that you will, just for the sake of making sure that your wife or your husband is happy. You'll make sure that this thing does not make my wife happy, does not make I have to live these things. Let each of you look out not only for his own interest, but also for the interest of others. If the parents would enter more fully into the feelings of their children and throw out what is there in their hearts, it would have been a beneficial influence upon them. Okay, here's the last one. We need a loving environment, an empathetic environment. We need a just what? A just environment as well. A just environment gives equal consideration for all family members. Nothing has more influence on the development of moral judgment than participation in a just environment. So we need to be able to have those things. I'm going to open for questions now. These slides you can read on your own. They are there. You'll be able to find them. Wonderful. One day when Jesus comes again, how beautiful it will be when all of us, as we rise from our graves, as we are caught together in the clouds, and as we don't precede on others and so on, and Jesus comes, how beautiful it will be when we are there as families and we are reunited. That will be a beautiful day. I'm asking for questions and contributions and what you call at this moment. It doesn't have to be a question, but it can be a contribution as well. It can be an experience as well. It can be a testimony as well. Okay, that you want to, on this lesson, on what has happened to your family. I think we have 5 more minutes or so we can be able to do that.
Amen. It is true indeed when you say, Ellen White, uthi umyeni, the best thing angayenza for a family ukuthi abantwana bazi ukuthi uthanda umama. My daughter said, "Hey, mommy, I wish I can get a husband as loving as my father." Amen.
I wambona manje indoda yasmile apha makawubona. That's wonderful, isn't it? That's wonderful. Angathi ma abantwana nihleba nabantwana nongumama but abantwana hey let's give him wasithola phi manje. It's possible, ain't it? Yeah, but I was wasibulala mama yazi. Hi. Okay. Anyone wants to contribute anything? Want to say something? Thank you so much for that. It shows that it can. Nangu dadwethu la. Ubaba uthi ufuna ukuthini? Tshela mina eqala ufuna ukuthini.
I greet you all in Jesus' name, amen. Okay, Mfundisi, it's not really a question, but yes. it's a request.
Okay.
Many pastors often talk about my temperaments, but some of us don't know anything about them.
Okay.
So, Uti, next time, can you just include them so that we get to know Uti, I'm phlegmatic, I'm this or that?
You know what? It's so important to know. Not only that, I've written now a book of about 100 pages just on temperaments, because since that time, I have been studying temperaments all my life, and I present them with passion, because, and you know what, it's so beautiful, my temperaments. You also see what temperaments your children are. See, treat abantwana bethu with this. For instance, we have different children. Our children are different in terms of temperament. And this thing you're good. Born how fun that's a gross violation. Each person is different to the other one. I've studied them. How do you drive? Temperament. How do you work M7s in? How do you relate with your family? How do you parent your children? How do you communicate? Monotemperament and and there are always negatives and positives, and we are able to articulate and so on. How do you know there are different things, about 15 variables in life, how you are able to do that. What you call Mfundisi Mahlangu samcela ukuthi next year masubuya sense njama temperaments, and then you'll also be able to manage your own people who have M7s, and you'll know this is choleric, this is what they got. And then you are able, in my leadership, whether I was a president at Helderberg College or now at what you call at TOC, I'm able to treat each pastor differently, because I can tell now, without you telling me which temperament you are. And I know how to deal with you as a person rather than put a blanket on everybody and so on. It helps you in your leadership in the local church, leadership at home, leadership at work as well. It helps you to be able to lead well and understand your people and provide for their needs different as they are. So, Sisi, definitely Mama Suso organize. My time is gone. And then may God bless you in a special way. Amen.